believe that's our last senator. And just wrap it up, Ms. Yates, thank you for appearing. Just want to clear up some things that were brought up. Are you familiar with the Durham investigation?
I've read about it. That's all I know.
Do you know Mr. Durham?
I don't believe we've ever met.
Do you have any concerns about his doing something politically wrong? As far as you know, is he an honest man?
I don't know Mr. Durham.
Okay, so you don't have an opinion one way or the other?
I don't.
Okay. Is it okay for Mr. Durham to find out how the system failed when it comes to the FISA warrant application?
Well, I think the Inspector General did that investigation.
Yeah. Is it okay to hold somebody criminally responsible who lies to the court?
If someone committed a crime, yes, of course, it's okay to hold them responsible.
So if you knew that the dossier was no longer reliable, but you continued to give it to the court, would that be a crime?
Well, and I assume you're saying you because you understand I did not know.
No, no doubt in my mind, ma'am. I've never suggested that you presented false information to the court. Here's what I'm suggesting. Is it possible that one of the most high-profile cases in the history of the FBI involving the Trump campaign literally fell apart when it came to the Carter Page warrant application and people above were not told? It's a simple question. The intel analyst who did the 40-page memo in January and another one in March and April provided evidence to the system that the warrant, that the dossier was a bunch of garbage. Is it okay to find out who was told about that?
Well, again, Senator, I think that Inspector General Horowitz did that investigation.
No, he didn't. He did not. No, ma'am, he never asked. I asked him specifically, did you ask the intel analyst, did you talk to anybody about your findings? He said no, that he didn't talk to Cormier McCabe about this. I believe you when you said that you didn't know the dossier was reliable, that if you'd known it was unreliable, you wouldn't have done it. The question for me is, how is it possible that people investigating this case were unaware that it fell apart? Is it okay for Durham to look at that, you think?
It's not my position to be saying what John Durham should do or not.
Well, as a career professional, do you want people held accountable who intentionally lie to the court?
Certainly, I would say that if someone intentionally lies to the court, it should be held accountable.
Let's talk about ethical duties. Do you have a duty to give the court and the defense exculpatory information?
If you're talking about Brady information, yes.
Yes.
Are you talking about a FISA court or a defendant in a criminal case?
Either way. In the Flynn case, one of the reasons they want to drop it is because they found evidence exculpatory to the defense that wasn't provided, but we'll have them come in and talk about Flynn. What I want to let the American people know is I don't buy for a minute that there are only 2 people in the FBI who knew the dossier was garbage and they didn't tell anybody. And I want to make sure this never happens again. I believe you and Rosenstein did not know. I find it impossible to believe that Strzok, McCabe, and Comey were not aware of the fact that the subsource disavowed the dossier. That's what I'm trying to find. That's what I'm trying to put the puzzle together. So what will the committee do next? We're going to talk to the intel analyst and the case agent and 2 others who interviewed the Russian subsource in January, again in March, and again in April, and we're going to ask them, oh, by the way, did you tell anybody in the FBI that the reliability of the dossier is going down to 0? And if you did tell somebody, who was it? Then we'll decide as a nation what accountability they should have, whether it be being fired, going to jail, or whatever. That is the purpose of this investigation going forward, is to make sure that the biggest system failure maybe ever at the FBI is not repeated, to make sure that if the FBI is investigating a presidential candidate or a sitting president, that they're held account when it goes off track. I just find it hard to believe that the dossier was used 4 times to get a warrant against Carter Page, and nobody knew it was a bunch of garbage, particularly after the January interview of the subsource. I don't believe you knew. I don't believe Rosenstein knew. But the idea that we're going to blame these 2 people at the bottom of the pyramid is not going to go forward without some serious looking. So what will the committee be doing next? We're going to find out who knew what and when, and if they knew the dossier wasn't reliable and they continued to use it, they're going to be in serious trouble with the law. And Ms. Yates, I appreciate your service to our country, and we will keep the record open for appropriate period of time, and the hearing is adjourned.